All right, so today's topic is all going to be about how to fall asleep independently and what to do if you have to night wean. So around the four month mark, you hear about sleep changes or sleep regression. The reason this changes is because the baby's sleep is becoming more like our sleep. Their circadian rhythm is developing. They no longer have that one truly deep sleep that can keep them sleeping through everything. Now they have sleep cycles. They have layer levels of sleep. So if the baby doesn't know how to fall asleep on their own, they wake up after their sleep cycle ends and they look for anything that will help them fall back asleep. Could be rocking, feeding, bouncing, whatever you feel is their prop. Now, consistency is something that we really want to try and work in, meaning we want to make sure the baby takes all naps and sleeps during the bedtime in their room, in their crib. As always, keep the room dark. I would introduce a white noise machine because it's a constant hum and it blocks out outside noise. As always, make sure you have a consistent, soothing routine done for all naps and at bedtime. So the key here is that this is your cue for the baby that it's time to sleep. This is not a means to fall asleep, meaning that you're not going to put the baby to sleep during this routine. You're just helping the baby wind down for the night. An example could be taking a bath, getting into PJs, having a bottle, reading a book, and then being put down to sleep awake. You want to make sure you do this for every nap as well as bedtime, because a baby is a creature of habit and they like routines. They need to know what to expect and then being put down to sleep awake. You want to make sure you do this for every nap as well as bedtime, because a baby is a creature of habit and they like routines. They need to know what to expect and slowly start teaching your baby how to self-soothe. Babies need to trust that when they wake up, they're going to be exactly where they were when they went to sleep. An example could be you're going to bed in your own bedroom and you wake up, let's say, in the living room or outside, and you're going to be very alarmed at how you got there. Although that's an extreme example, it's exactly how the babies feel. When the baby falls asleep while being rocked or fed, they're looking up at mom or dad, and all of a sudden they wake up in the middle of the night in a crib by themselves, staring up into the ceiling. So that can be very concerning for the baby, as of course it should be. Now, it's okay to be drowsy when you put the baby to sleep. You just want to make sure that, because you do want to make sure that the body is winding down and ready, but you just want to make sure that the rocking or the feeding isn't a crutch. Falling asleep or learning to fall asleep independently is important because it does teach babies that will wake throughout the night, as we all do, how to put themselves back to sleep. This is a skill that your baby will take with them for their whole lives, for the rest of their lives. They're not going to outgrow bad sleep. Now, there's a lot of different approaches out there on how to sleep train. And sleep train does not mean cry it out. There are so many other gentler ways to do this. When you do find an approach that works best for you and your baby, again, does it mean cry it out? Whatever you choose, just make sure that you are staying consistent with it and you give it at least 2 weeks time to implement. As always, make sure the baby is not overtired. I would suggest looking for the sleepy cues to get the baby down for a nap or to go to bed before the overtired phase hits, because it is a lot harder to work with an exhausted baby. Also, again, just remember that you want to do the soothing routine between every single nap and bedtime. Again, we're just building that routine for the baby. Now, as far as feeding at night. So if you think that your baby is ready to drop all night feeds and the baby is at the appropriate weight, number one, always get the okay from the doctor that the baby is good to go. That is usually when we can see a full 10 to 12 hour sleep cycle per night. Now, if the doctor requires that you do have a feeding, I would say that you choose a feeding time and you do the feeding after the baby wakes up. So if you have one feeding, then I would recommend waiting until your baby wakes up after midnight. The first part of the night is the most restorative part of sleep. So from bedtime to midnight is when our bodies get the most restorative sleep. So from bedtime to midnight is when our bodies really get the most restorative sleep. So I would always ask that if you do have to do one feed, you wait after midnight to help reinforce the baby to sleep for the consolidated sleep from bedtime to midnight. If you have two feedings, I would say that for the second feeding, wait and after 3 a.m. And if you have any other wakings besides that, I would say treat them as a night waking and follow the approach that you chose to do with the program that you selected. Now, another thing to think about is your little one eating out of habit or as a means to fall asleep? Again, it could be a sleep prop because they have not learned how to sleep or self-soothe. That could be something you want to ask yourself. I would also recommend, another tip is move feeding up in. I really hope that this helped a lot. If you have any questions, please always feel free to drop a line in the comment section or send a private message, a gentle sleep learning, and I'll make sure to get back to you.